Welcome, everybody, to the live stream. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Breaking news. Welcome, everybody. Come on in, hit that thumbs up. I'm so excited to get into this. I have the actual ruling public record of the Supreme Court of the United States, ruling in favor, unanimously, mind you, ruling in favor of Donald Trump staying on the Colorado ballot. I'm going to break down everything for you. As I said, I have the public record here. I just want to say a few things before we get started. Welcome. This is a subscriber only live stream. So if you want to engage in the awesome chat, I will be shouting out people. Members will get a first dibs, obviously. And super chats and super stickers will get first dibs, obviously. But I'm so excited to talk about this because this, my friends, this is a win for democracy. That's what this is. This has nothing to do with bipartisanship. This has nothing to do with right, left, blue pill, red pill. This has to do with democracy. I'm very, very impressed, to be honest with you. I am super impressed with the Supreme Court because it wasn't just the Republican conservative justices that voted against this. It was unanimous, 9-0. And their number one contention was this is unconstitutional. The Constitution, the United States, freedom, democracy won today. Whether you like Trump or not, it makes no difference. It makes absolutely no difference whether you like Trump or not. This is a win for democracy because no matter what they throw at this guy, the kitchen sink and then some, no matter what they throw at this guy, it's not working. I really actually, to be honest with you, let me know in the comments what you think. I actually fear for his life. I mean, they are doing everything they can in their power to get rid of this guy. So I'm going to go over this document because I think it's so interesting. But it's what's really something that I think is so worth noting. Okay, is that Trump was impeached twice. I want you to listen carefully to this. And by the way, let me know if the audio is okay. I just want to know that you guys can hear me okay. It's so great to see you, Barb. Barb is in the house. Good to see you. Hey, William. I'll shout out some people here. Nana's in the house. Trump 2024. Melissa. Sony says Hispanic for President Trump. There you go. Fantastic. It's good to see you. Come on in. Please hit that like button, that thumbs up, and share this out because the more you do that, the more engagement we get, the more this video gets posted out. Let me know if you can see this on Rumble as well. We are live on Rumble. So let's see if this is actually working. Is it working on Rumble? Yes, it is. So we're on Rumble as well. I would highly recommend you follow me on Rumble too, because YouTube's probably going to delete this channel given the fact that we discuss and bring to light everything that mainstream media, the establishment, and YouTube is a part of that establishment. That is for sure. Hey, Jan, good to see you. A member is in the house. Good to see you, Jan. So members, obviously, super chats and super stickers will get shout outs and first dibs. Here's what I want to say right off the bat before we're going to dissect this document together. This is the public record of the Supreme Court decision. We're going to go through this right now. But before I do, Trump was impeached twice. Listen to this. Indicted 4 times, arrested 4 times, and charged 91 times. And all of that, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this. That speaks more, reveals more about them than it does Trump. And by the way, Trump has been in business for what, 50, 60 years, never once been indicted. All of a sudden, he has 91 indictments when he runs for office again? Coincidence? I think not. All of that backfired. So what do they try to do? The states began to disqualify him from their ballot instead. We're not going to give, that's, ladies and gentlemen, that is an Orwellian dystopian nightmare. That is authoritarian, it's autocratic, it's communistic, it's absolutely state controlled. They think they know better for the American people than the American people. It's a travesty, and that's why this channel exists. I'm sick and tired of seeing this happen to my country that I love. It absolutely breaks my heart. So what do they try to do? They try to disqualify him. Now that failed 9-0. 9-0. So I'm going to throw up a poll here. I'm going to throw up a poll in the chat. Now that all of that failed, what do you think they will throw at him next? What do you think they will throw at him next? I want to hear from you guys. More indictments? Disqualifications? Or other? Let me know in the comments. This is really, really interesting because it's just indicative of what they're trying to do. Like, what are they trying to do here? It makes absolutely no sense. They've thrown everything in the kitchen sink against this guy. Okay, so I have, let me actually go down here. This would probably be better. Okay, so Metal Seer, good to see you. Metal Seer says rigged election. Yeah, I mean, it's so sad to say that, Metal Seer. And if you have a first name, let me know. I apologize. But it almost seems that you're absolutely correct. So let's go through this really quickly. I want to break this down. Obviously, it's a 20-page public record of the Supreme Court of the United States decision on the Donald Trump matter of Colorado removing Donald Trump from the ballot. This is live breaking news. March 4th, 2024. This just happened. And it was unanimous, 9-0. It just happened. Pure curiam, a group of Colorado voters contends that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution prohibits former President Donald Trump, who seeks the presidential nomination of the Republican Party in this year's election. The Colorado Supreme Court agreed with that contention. So the Colorado Supreme Court agreed with the state's launching of this filing and removal of Donald Trump. It ordered the Secretary of State to exclude I still can't believe it's 2024 in the year of our Lord, and this is happening at a banana republic level. This is banana republic. This is third world country where political despots and political narcissists just want to remove their competition and not let democracy win. You know, you hear all the time from CNN and from these mainstream media outlets that, democracy is on the ballot, democracy in favor of Biden and Kamala. This year, democracy is on the ballot. Oh, really? Is that a fact? Removing presidential candidates from the ballot? That's your idea of democracy? I think not. That's not how the Constitution works. And that is why it was 9-0. So former President Trump challenges this because the Constitution makes Congress rather than the states responsible for enforcing Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates. We reverse. So that's what the Supreme Court, SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States of America, they are disinterested. You know, I talk a lot about the Fani Willis trial. I talk a lot about, what's happening in the migrant immigration crisis. I talk a lot about Newsom, Schiff, Pelosi, the establishment. I talk a lot about how the fact that they're supplying billions and billions of dollars for migrants, immigrants, and foreign proxy wars rather than our homeless veterans who fought and died for our country. It makes me absolutely livid. It should make you absolutely livid as well. This is the most consequential year of our republic since the Civil War. This needs to stop by you and I supporting each other, by raising awareness I'm going to do everything in my power, blood, sweat, and tears to raise awareness, because mainstream media won't talk about this. Legacy media won't talk about this. The SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, has upheld the Constitution. You know, I really loved Justice Scalia, rest his soul, God rest his soul. Such a smart, intelligent student of the Constitution. He didn't believe in this idea that the Constitution is this living, quote unquote, document. It's this document that evolves and changes with the times. That's not what the founders had in mind. It is a sustainable, it is a rock solid, convicted document and founding principles and values that were extremely diligently, conscientiously thought out and written. It is not a living document. And it is not up to the Supreme Court. It is not up to these justices to enact, to interpret or pass legislation. It is their job, rather, forgive me, to interpret. That's their job. Their job is not to enact legislation. It's to interpret legislation. That is the key. I love Justice Scalia. He was amazing. I'm sorry, I think I said his name right. We're live, by the way. This is live, raw, unfiltered. This is breaking live news. So I love the fact that because the Constitution makes Congress rather than the states responsible for enforcing Section 3. So you state legislators, you state authorities and politicians, you do not have the right, because if we give you the right, it will enact chaos. There will be a patchwork. They actually use that word, patchwork. Okay, it will be a patchwork disaster across the entire country. That's not what this republic was made of. That is not what the Constitution explicitly states. So that's why this is so important. Moving on. I love this. Last September, about 6 months before the March 5th Colorado primary election, 4 Republican and 2 unaffiliated Colorado voters filed a petition against former president and Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold in a Colorado state court. These voters, whom we refer to as the respondents, contend that after the former president's defeat in the 2020 presidential election, he disrupted the peaceful transfer of power by intentionally organizing and inciting the crowd that breached the Capitol as Congress meant to certify election results on January 6, 2021. One consequence of those actions, the respondents maintain, is that former President Trump is constitutionally ineligible to serve as president again. Watch how they rebut this. Which, by the way, I just want to go and make it very, very clear. And Tucker Carlson, I really think Tucker Carlson nailed this. You know, he said when this first happened on January 6th, 2021, when this first happened, there's all this talk about January 6th. The first thing that he said was, I was immediately in doubt. I was immediately in doubt. He was a lot smarter than I was, because when I first saw it, I was immediately repulsed. I did not like to see, as much as I thought that there was some fishiness going on. I mean, I went to bed with Trump ahead in Georgia, Trump ahead in Pennsylvania, Trump ahead in Georgia, Pennsylvania, North Carolina. He was ahead. I went to bed thinking, okay, he got reelected. He won. He was ahead by a large margin. I woke up and all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, Biden won. What? What happened? And by the way, never in the history of any election have I ever gone to bed. I understand mail-in ballots. I understand they still had to count a lot, but never in the history of my life in any election have I gone to bed knowing that the major swing states, because it's all about Ohio, it's all about Pennsylvania, it's all about Florida, it's all about Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. These are the big states. Every other state is pretty much already accounted for. It's those major swing states that can pretty much go either way. There's a lot of independent voters, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people still making their decisions. Those are the deciding factors. Don't get it twisted. Okay. There's literally no point in counting California, no point in counting like Massachusetts. Give me a break. We already know where those states are going. And case in point, the East Coast, New York, the District of Columbia. I mean, Nikki Haley won the primary in the District of Columbia last night. That to me says it all. The swamp wants Nikki Haley to win. There's no doubt about that. The swamp is all for Nikki Haley. That's why she's still in the race, because she's not funding her campaign with her own money or even her own donors. It is the consortium, the establishment, Obama, okay, Pelosi, Schumer, they're writing checks for Nikki Haley because they're going to do everything in their power to stop this guy. If you saw the latest national polls, Trump is ahead by 7, 8, sometimes even double-digit points nationally because comatose, one foot in the grave Biden is unfit to run for office. Even my 11-year-old son, whose birthday is literally tomorrow. I love you, Sammy. Happy birthday. He even knows this guy is unfit. Look what happened. Italian media is making fun of him. China is making fun of us. Russia is making fun of us. The whole world is making fun of us. This is a giant embarrassment. It's a giant embarrassment. He doesn't even know where he is. Somebody needs to tap in on the shoulder and remind him that he passed away a long time ago. He forgot. So these guys are trying to wield power and take power in their own. By the way, organizing and inciting the crowd. So not only did Tucker Carlson doubt this, I didn't doubt this at first. At first, I was very, very upset. But then obviously, as any intelligent human being, the more information, the more intelligence that comes out, the more that you understand that mainstream media is completely corrupt and it's essentially state media. There is no objective journalism anymore anywhere on CBS, ABC, NBC, CNN. None of the major networks have any loyalty to the dictum that journalism is supposed to be reporting facts. Journalism is supposed to be, quote unquote, disinterested. Look at Rolling Stone. I mean, Rolling Stone magazine is a travesty. Stick to music. You're barely good at that. All they do is trash conservatives, trash Republicans, left. I mean, and it's all fake media. It's all lies. It's all fake news. Their theory turns on Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which Section 3 provides no person shall be senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature, et cetera, who have engaged in insurrection, insurrection or rebellion against the same or given aid or comfort to the enemies. But Congress may be a vote of 2/3 of each house remove such disability. So according to the respondents, Section 3 applies to the former president because after taking oath, he breached that by what happened on January 6th. So they had a 5-day trial, right? We all know that. Okay. The state district court found that he did engage, so they took him off the ballot. Okay. In December, the Colorado Supreme Court reversed in part and affirmed by a 4-3 vote. So Colorado basically acted unilaterally. Okay. The Colorado Supreme Court automatically removed, and they, looked at everything and they basically said, no, we're going to enact that. And then the Supreme Court today said, we now reversed this. Okay. Proposed by Congress in 1866 and ratified, the 14th Amendment expanded federal power at the expense of state autonomy and thus fundamentally altered the balance of state and federal power struck by the Constitution in 1866. Okay, Section 1 of the amendment, for instance, bars the states from depriving any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law or denying any person the equal protection. I love our Constitution. It is just absolutely fantastic. So, in other words, by citing all of that, the Supreme Court essentially says this, which this is really the key point right here. Section 3 of the amendment likewise restricts state autonomy, but through different means. It was designed to help ensure an enduring union by preventing former Confederates from returning to power in the aftermath of the Civil War. Essentially states you cannot control the federal electorate process. You cannot remove somebody from the ballot, okay, and deprive the nation from voting on who they want to vote for. He has the delegates. He has the numbers. This is why our Constitution is a beautiful, artistic, eloquent document that has been mimicked, copied, admired, adored throughout the globe for centuries. This is why I love our Constitution. Again, the whole purpose of my channel is a return to practicality. These guys want to take all the power. They want to turn this into a state government where they get to decide what books your kids read. They get to decide, if parents have the right to understand if their kids are getting gender affirming surgical non-reversible care. They get to decide, who gets to go to jail and who doesn't. They get to decide the safety of your family. They get to decide who you get to vote for. They're going to get to decide what you eat, sleep. I mean, it's insane. It's Orwellian. It's a nightmare. And thank God for these justices and the Democratic justice. It was 9-0. 9-0. It was a unanimous decision. I love our Constitution. It is fantastic. I love it. Section 3 works by imposing on certain individuals a preventative and severe penalty, disqualification from holding a wide array of offices rather than by granting rights to all. It is therefore necessary, as Chief Justice Chase concluded, to ascertain what particular individuals are embraced. So the Constitution empowers Congress to prescribe how those determinations should be made. And who and what is Congress comprised of? Elected officials, representatives of states. It's our Do you guys remember? Do you guys know the history of this amazing country, the United States of America? One of the main reasons the Revolutionary War took place, one of the main reasons the colonists revolted against the tyranny of King George in Great Britain is because somebody tell me in the comments, what without representation? What was it without representation? Somebody tell me. I'm going to give them a shout out. Very well said, Metal Seer. It was what without representation? Somebody tell me in the comments right now. Yes, next Pharaoh. Taxation without representation. Taxation without representation. Very good. Very good. Very good. That's it. Very good. Taxation without representation. That's why. That's one of the main reasons for the revolution. It was turning into a tyrannical state, an autocrat, authoritarian. And the colonists are saying here, going, wait a minute, we don't have any representation in the king's court, yet you get to tax us? I don't think so. That's not how it works. That's why this beautiful birth of this amazing nation took place. And so I'm just kind of going through this because it's a 20-page document, but There is absolute, it's so much power. It's so revealing. And the fact that the Supreme Court voted unanimously just makes me so proud to be everybody in the chat should be proud. Everybody watching this, listening to this should be proud to be an American today. I was shocked when I go on Twitter and I see people like Steve Martin, Mark Ruffalo. I just despise these people. I was such a big fan of Steve Martin. And he just kind of casually joked, we need to pay these Supreme Court, just like John Oliver, we need to pay these Supreme Courts off. I'm going to do a video. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification. In the pinned comment is our free newsletter. I'm going to put out a video of what John Oliver, I mean, he literally committed a felony, what he did to Justice Clarence Thomas and what he offered him. It was a crime. I'm going to do a video on that. Stay tuned. This is going to be a consequential, huge year for our American Republic, but you should be proud to be an American today. Okay, moving on a little bit. I just want to get to some more. Oh, look at this. This is a fantastic paragraph right here. This case raises the question whether the states, in addition to Congress, may also enforce Section 3. No, they can't. No, it's up to Congress. We conclude that states may disqualify persons holding or attempting to hold. Here's the key right here, guys. This is the crux of this entire decision. Remember, they are not allowed to enact legislation. The Supreme Court, okay, does not create legislation. They do not comment on social issues. They are supposed to be equivocal, aka disinterested, neutral, objective, which is the same thing with what's happening. The reason why Fani Willis is completely imploded on this whole case, imploded on Fani Willis, because she's as the Pitbull Sadow says, she is anything but disinterested. This is a powerful section B of this Supreme Court order. We conclude that states may disqualify persons holding or attempting to hold, in italics emphasized, state office. But states have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal. This is so good. This is so good. I love you guys, SCOTUS. With respect to federal offices, especially the presidency. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how the cookie crumbles. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the whole kit and caboodle. Hasta la pasta. See ya, wouldn't want to be ya. Nada holada. Nice try, Colorado. Nice try, Pelosi. Nice try, Schumer. Nice try, Obama. Nice try, comatose, 1 foot in the grave Biden. Nice try, Kami Kamala. It ain't happening. You can't circumvent the Constitution. And I give major kudos. SoCal Boho Gal. I'm still looking for moderators, so I might make SoCal Boho Gal a moderator. Metal Seer, I might make you a moderator because you're a member and you're here. So I might make you as a matter of fact, hold on a second. Let me see. Because I need moderators for these live streams. And by the way, I know Metal Seer, you're here a lot. And you're a member too. So I'm going to make you a moderator. Okay. So what that essentially means, Metal Seer, is that I need your help to remove spam and scam messages, because we're going to get that. The reason I do subscriber only chats is because I'm trying to mitigate against spam and scam. So most of the spammers and scammers will not subscribe. So we're going to go live. Actually, by the way, don't forget to subscribe and follow, guys, because there's going to be a huge hearing on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. You got the blue wrench, Metal Seer. Thank you so much. Give me a first name too, unless I like Metal Seer, but give me a first name if you don't mind. We're going to do a huge live stream this Wednesday too. Buckle up. because we've got some huge things coming this Wednesday that are going to absolutely knock your socks off. Never mind the fact that we've got so many more live streams coming. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Katie. Katie says, new subscriber. Thank you so much, Katie. It's great to have you here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. But I love this section. So anyway, stay tuned in the pinned comment. Become a free, subscribe to our free newsletter. That's the best way to always be in the now. States have no power under the Constitution to enforce Section 3 with respect to federal office, especially the president. I love it. I'm going to give out more wrenches. So the criteria for being a moderator, which means you get a blue wrench, you stand out in the comments, and you have the access. I give you authority to remove spam and remove, just comments that don't contribute and just attack ad hominem, et cetera, et cetera. So the criteria for becoming a moderator is if you're a member and you're here, every stream, obviously that's kind of, you're going to get first dibs because if you're a member, that means you're paying, you're supporting the channel every month. You're a sponsor of the channel. Metal Seer is a sponsor of the channel. Also, another criteria is that you demonstrate to me that you're thoughtful, constructive, productive, you're an engaging member, you contribute on a consistent basis. So SoCal Boho Gal, you're in the running, that's for sure. We got a couple other people I see here that are in the running. So I'm very proud of you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm so happy that you guys are here. So this is a huge, huge component to this ruling. Because again, if all nine justices, there was no split, there was no vote of dissent, there was nothing like that. It was 9-0 unanimous. You cannot take President Trump off the ballot. It's a great day for America, but it's also something that the Democrats can't say, oh, this is a loaded court, or oh, these are unelected officials. Oh, the Supreme Court was all nominated and formed by the Republicans, Mitch McConnell and Trump. No, you can't say that. It's 9-0. They actually ascribed to their oath of office. They upheld with much credibility and ethos their oath to office, and they followed the Constitution. That is the key. By the way, I'm going to share a link of this entire public record. It's 20 pages long. We're not going to go through all the 20 pages. As a matter of fact, we're probably going to end this in the next 15 to 20 minutes. I will share in the description of this video, in the show notes, I will share a link to this entire public record. I highly advise you check it out for yourself. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful document. In our federal system, the national government possesses only limited powers. The states and the people retain the remainder. Okay. I mean, that one is really, really the key. That one is really, really the key. So they also make this claim, which I love, about the 14th Amendment, that although the 14th Amendment restricts power, state power, nothing in it plainly withdraws from the state this traditional authority. After ratification, the 14th Amendment uses its authority to disqualify state officers in accordance with state statutes. However, this is what I love about the Constitution. Such power over governance, however, does not extend to federal office holders and candidates because federal officers owe their existence and functions to the united voice of the whole, not a portion of the people. Powers over their election and qualifications must be specifically delegated to rather than reserved by the states. I mean, I just love our Constitution. Our Constitution is the most beautiful, eloquent, artful document ever in existence. It is a treasure. It is a national treasure. And the fact that my kids and most kids across this country are not versed on this. I wasn't versed on the Constitution when I was a kid in public school. No, what are they teaching them? They're teaching them that you can call yourself whatever you want. You can be a she, he. You can identify as a rabbit. You can identify as a fire hydrant. You can identify as whatever you want. You can use public bathrooms as a man and impinge upon poor underaged girls who are just trying to use the restroom. It's an atrocity. And yeah, oh, by the way, we're going to also use our schools. We're going to kick out your kids' schools, and we're going to use your schools to house migrants, illegal documented aliens. This is a travesty that's happening in this country. It's an absolute abomination. We need to stop this ASAP. And the Supreme Court is did a fantastic job of cementing what this country is all about, what it should be all about. Look, I don't care what you do with your own body. I don't care what you do in your own home. That's the freedoms that many millions of people have fought and died for. But don't you shove that down the throat of me and my kids. Don't you shove that down the throat of every American. We don't want to. I'm sick and tired of it. Okay? I don't care what you do in the privacy of your own home. I don't care what you do in your own life. But don't demand that I have to acquiesce and I have to bow down to your BS identifications. I mean, another reason why the whole world is laughing at us. I mean, even Putin said this in his state speech. He said Americans are worried about, they're worried about what gender they are when their country is crumbling. Putin actually said that. Can I disagree with him? No, I can't. He's absolutely right. I can't disagree with him. It's sad. But this is really, really powerful. U.S. term limits, citing U.S. term limits versus Thornton in 1995. Nothing in the Constitution delegates to the states any power to enforce Section 3 against federal office holders and candidates. That's beautiful. That is beautiful right there. I just love this. Document. I just love this. It's absolutely fantastic. And that's why it was 9-0. The respondents nonetheless maintain that states may enforce Section 3 against candidates for federal office, which they can't. But the text of the 14th Amendment on its face does not affirmatively delegate such power to the states. The terms of the amendment speak only to enforcement by Congress, which enjoys power to enforce the amendment through legislation pursuant to Section 5. In other words, Congress, the representatives of Congress, are there because they were elected through a democratic process to represent their constituents, us, the American people who voted. These people in there to represent us. And the reason we voted these people to represent us is because they are emblematic or symbolic of the values and principles that we hold near and dear. So you can't just take the power into your own hands, Lenin. You can't just take the power into your own hands, Karl Marx, Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, however you say his name, from China. You can't. That's communistic. That is state control. That's authoritarian. That is the worst. It's un-American. It's completely un-American. And by the way, what do you guys think this does? What do you guys think this does? What happened to my poll here? Oh, what do you guys think this does to Trump's standing? What do you guys think? New poll. New poll coming right now. I want you guys to answer this. New poll. Do you think Colorado's attempt to remove Trump, okay, helped his campaign or hurt it? Here we go. Here we go. Coming up. New poll. Every single time they do this. Oh, is Trump speaking right now? Let's see if we can find that. I'll go to a live shot of that. Hold on a second. See if Trump is talking. Is Trump talking right now? Oh, he is. Okay, hold on. Let's do a live shot of that. Hold on a second.
That they did. And while we're on the subject, and another thing that will be coming up very soon will be immunity for a president, and not immunity for me, but for any president. If a president doesn't have full immunity, you really don't have a president, because nobody that is serving in that office will have the courage to make, in many cases, what would be the right decision, or it could be the wrong decision. It could be, in some cases, the wrong decision, but they have to make decisions, and they have to make them free of all terror that can be rained upon them when they leave office or even before they leave office. And some decisions are very tough. I can tell you that as the president, that some decisions to make are very tough. I took out ISIS, and I took out some very big people from the standpoint of a different part of the world. Two of the leading terrorists, probably the two leading terrorists ever that we've ever seen in this world. And those are big decisions. I don't want to be prosecuted for it. Another president wouldn't want to be prosecuted for it. It had a tremendously positive impact. It stopped everything cold. And sometimes you have to make, they were tough decisions. Sometimes you have to make decisions like that. When you make a decision, you don't want to have your opposing party or opponent, or even somebody that just thinks you're wrong, bring a criminal suit against you, or any kind of a suit when you leave office. I have that right now at a level that nobody's ever seen before. I have rogue prosecutors, and I have rogue judges. I have judges that are out of control. And it's a very unfair thing for me, but serving perhaps as a sample to others of what should not be happening when you make good decisions. And in my case, the economy was great. We didn't go into any wars. We totally defeated ISIS. We provided the largest tax cuts in history. We provided the largest regulation cuts in history. But think of it, no wars. We beat ISIS 100% of the caliphate. And there were no wars. We did a job that was great, but maybe I wouldn't have done that. The caliphate, defeating them, was very powerful. It was going to take 4 years. It took me 4 months, but it was a very strong dictum that I gave. I said, get them, defeat them, end it. We were fighting for 20 years against ISIS, and we did it very quickly. I don't want to be prosecuted. In that case, it worked out very well. There will be some things that perhaps don't work out so well, but I don't want to be prosecuted because I decided to do something that is very much for the good of the country and actually for the good of the world. A president shouldn't have that on his mind, and he has to have a free and clear mind when he makes very big decisions, or it's going to be nothing more than a ceremonial post. You'll be president, it'll be a wonderful thing, and you won't do anything because you don't want to be hit by your opponent or hit by somebody else, because who wants to leave office and go through what I've gone through? I'm being prosecuted by Biden, my opponent, because every one of these things, whether it's Fannie Willis or Bragg, these are local and state, but they're in total coordination with the White House. You can't do that. It shouldn't be done. I mean, a thing like that. In the case of the DA's office, they put one of the top people, maybe the second person, in the Manhattan DA's office to get Trump. They had a Hillary Clinton lawyer leave the law firm, very prestigious big law firm, leave the law firm to go into the DA's office to get Trump, Pomerantz, Mr. Pomerantz. So he goes in to become a prosecutor, worked for the Democrat Party and Hillary Clinton, goes in to prosecute Donald Trump at a local level in total coordination with the Department of Justice, meaning Biden. And then you have the Fannie Willis, or as she would say, Fani, F-A-N-I, Fani. And she hired somebody, knew the person long before this horrible prosecution took place. And she went out and she paid him an unbelievable amount of money, more money than he ever had dreamt possible, much more money than other people that do that for a living. He never did it at all, had no experience in it at all. And they had obviously a conflict. We don't have to go into that, but they were able to get a lot of money because it was a high profile person. Me, I'm a very high profile person. So they were able to pay him close to $1 million when he was not equipped to do the job, and she's not equipped to do the job, and that case should end immediately. That case is so conflicted, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And then you have deranged Jack Smith, who's a Trump hater and represents all the Trump haters, and he's going wild. He's just a wild man. He's been overturned unanimously by the Supreme Court. Went after other people over the years. He's had great failure, but he's mean, he's nasty, he's unfair. And the judges on these cases, they're all Trump haters, other than we have maybe one or two that I think can be fair. But you look at New York, what's happened. I mean, these people have tremendous hatred. You can't do this to a president. And again, I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about in the future. A president has to be free. A president has to be, if the president does a good job, I did. Some people would say a great job. But if the president does a good job, a president should be free and clear and frankly celebrated for having done a good job. Not indicted 4 times and not gone after on a civil basis and not demanded to pay hundreds of millions of dollars in fines on something that was absolutely perfect, where there were no victims, where the financial statements were absolutely flawless, where you have disclaimer clauses. I mean, nobody's ever had a thing like this. I wasn't given a jury, and I had a clubhouse judge just come up with this number on a perfect loan and very conservative financial statements. But even at that, if you look, the disclaimer says, don't rely on the financial statements in any way, shape, or form. Go out and do your own work. The bank in question had the most sophisticated lawyers in the world, frankly, one of the top law firms anywhere in the country. And they can defend themselves. What guys like Bragg and Letitia James and Fani and deranged Jack Smith, what they should be doing is fighting violent crime. And that would lead me to the end. I will say that President Biden, number one, stop weaponization. Fight your fight yourself. Don't use prosecutors and judges to go after your opponent, to try and damage your opponent so you can win an election. Our country is much bigger than that. The other thing I say to President Biden, close the borders now. This is not sustainable for our country. It's not sustainable for our cities. Our country is under siege. This is a violent thing that you've done. And many people are dying. Many, many people are dying. They die on the trip up. They die going through the border. And they die in our country. But many of the people coming up are from prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums. Many are terrorists. You see it. Many, many are terrorists. And I believe the real number that we have right now is probably closer to 15 million people. And by the time the term ends, I believe the president's term ends, I believe you'll be at close to 20 million people. That's almost larger than any state in the union. Our country, it is not sustainable. Many of these people are tough. Many of these people are bad. They come from some of the roughest countries in the world and some of the roughest prisons. We have prisons in the Congo, in Africa, coming. We have people coming from all parts of the Middle East. They're coming from Yemen, and yet you are bombing Yemen. You have to stop. You have to close the border. You have absolute authorization. You don't need Congress. I had the safest border in the history of our country. And I didn't use Congress for it. And then I built hundreds of miles of wall. And the reason I built it and how I built it was I considered it an invasion of our country. And I took the money from the military, and the Army Corps of Engineers did it with me. And we did a great job. And we had the safest border we've ever had. And now we have the most unsafe border anywhere in the world at any time. There's never been a border like this in any country, anywhere in the world. They would have fought with sticks and stones to stop the horrible situation that's occurring. Our people can't stand it, and the people coming in really can't stand it because they're dying. Many are dying on the trip up, and they're dying in the country. And also, many of the people are criminals, and they're doing tremendous harm. I call it migrant crime. It's migrant crime. It's a new category of crime. They're hurting our country horribly. And we've become a laughing stock all over the world. So I say respectfully to President Biden, you have the authorization right now. I did it. I didn't go to Congress and say, do I have the right to close? I fought Congress on it. Close the borders. You can do it right now. You have everything. Use my policies. My policies were great. Everybody said it. Use my policies. So just to finish, I have great respect for the Supreme Court, and I want to just thank them for working so quickly and so diligently and so brilliantly. And again, this is a unifying factor. Everybody now is together, and they can go after me as a politician. They can.
I forgot I was on mute. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I muted my mic for Trump. So anyway, I just wanted to come back here and just finish up. Can you guys hear me right now? Sorry about that. I just want to finish up on this amazing ruling and document. Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me now? Let me know if you can hear me. I got too excited. Jill, you're right. But Trump is absolutely right. His policies worked. Biden's not going to close the border. It's an absolute travesty. And there are millions pouring in every single day. Also, you know, I always try to be open to all views, and I want you to be open to them as well, because our sovereignty is critical thinking, critical discernment. I don't think anything should be censored or suppressed, because the fact that people think, oh, no, disinformation, this is misinformation, I'll be the judge of that. I know when something's BS. Don't censor and suppress. What you think is misinformation, I don't necessarily agree with. And I think that we're smart enough. They actually dumb down, and they have zero respect for the American public. And so even 60 Minutes, okay, I watched 60 Minutes last night, CBS, mainstream media. Even 60 Minutes last night did an entire special on the travesty of the border. So if 60 Minutes and the mainstream media are talking about this, you got to know that Biden's in serious trouble. Okay. Yes, if you're just tuning in, 9-0. It was a unanimous decision. The Supreme Court ruled the state does not have the power. Colorado does not have the unilateral power to remove a president from the ballot. And another thing that they say here, which I love, if you once this stream is over, it's going to be posted. I highly recommend you watch this, save this, follow this, bookmark this, because I'm telling you right now that you're going to want to watch this from the beginning. We're about to wrap it up here, but I went through this entire document, all the really key points. And here's another one right here. The respondents, which is basically the contention of the state and state Colorado, identified any tradition of state enforcement. They have not identified, nor have the respondents identified any tradition of state enforcement of Section 3 against federal office holders or candidates in the years following ratification of the 14th Amendment. Such a lack of historical precedent, this is huge, is a very telling indication of a severe constitutional problem with the asserted power. So what they're saying right there is that it's never been done in the history of our country. There is no precedent. You cannot take a president off a ballot just because you feel like it, just because you don't like it. It is for the people, by the people. That's what this country is all about, with the people. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people. That is what the great Abraham Lincoln said that is what our country is founded on. You cannot just take a presidential candidate that has the delegates, that has the numbers, that has the votes, that has the American public support. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at this guy. I'm dreadfully worried for his safety. I'm telling you right now, 91 indictments. He's been arrested. He's been charged. He's been fined hundreds of millions of dollars. They're trying to take him off the ballot. What's next? What are they going to think of next? What are they going to do next? So the fact that the Supreme Court, all 9 of them unanimously voted, it's the greatest day for America in 2024 so far. I think it's the greatest day for America in 2020 so far. Hopefully there's more to come. Okay, just to wrap up, again, I'm going to share a link to this public record of the Supreme Court order and their judgment. And I highly recommend, I'll share a link in the show notes and the description of this video so you guys can check it out for your own. It's a beautiful PDF. It's a beautiful ruling. And they've really made it quite clear that this is unconstitutional for the state. They come up with a lot of examples, and they come up with a lot of real concrete evidence as to why this is not allowable. You should not be allowed to do this. Finally, the state enforcement of Section 3 with respect to the presidency would raise heightened concerns. This is interesting. In the context of a presidential election, state-imposed restrictions implicate a uniquely important national interest. And they cite Anderson versus Calabresi in 1983. State-by-state resolution of the question whether Section 3 bars a particular candidate for president from serving would be quite unlikely to yield a uniform answer consistent with the basic principle that the president represents all the voters in the nation. You don't have the right, state, to decide for the country. You cannot create this patchwork of chaos. And I think they say that. I'm trying to find where they say the actual term. It's a 20-page judgment with evidence and justification. Here it is. Here it is right here. This is awesome. The patchwork that would likely result, this is so good. The patchwork that would likely result from a state enforcement would sever the direct link that the framers found so critical between the national government and the people of the United States as a whole. It doesn't get any bigger than that, y'all. It doesn't get any bigger than that. The patchwork that would likely result, because can you imagine all of these other states just start following suit? So you've got this array, this patchwork of chaos, as I like to call it. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful that the Supreme Court of the United States ruled this way. Okay, because this would, and I love the direct reference to the framers of the Constitution. Last thing I'm going to say, this is so important, you guys. The Supreme Court does not enact legislation. They interpret legislation. They cannot just conjure up new laws. They cannot decide if this law, should be enacted or not. They can only interpret and pass their judgment. That is why they are there. And they are elected, or they are nominated by representatives of the people. So the people vote the president in, and the president is representative. He's a servant, a public servant of us, the people. And so this idea that the Democrats are saying these guys weren't elected, they were nominated. No, they were elected. Maybe not directly, but indirectly, they were elected. That right there is, to me, the real kind of epicenter of this decision. It's the epicenter of why this is a great day in America, because they directly say it would sever the direct link that the framers found so critical between the national government and the people of the United States as a whole. Thank you so much, Kate's. I really appreciate that comment. Thank you for a great podcast. I really, really appreciate that. So I'm going to just kind of say this really quickly. By the way, I have a great video. I have a fantastic video on what kind of President Trump alluded to with this migrant crisis. If you haven't seen that, check it out on my YouTube channel or my Rumble channel. Highly recommend you follow me on Rumble. I'm Professor Nez on Rumble as well as YouTube, because there is a good potential that YouTube will delete this channel, because we are bringing up things that completely defy and oppose all of YouTube and Google's views. Do I need to even bring up their AI Gemini, which I did a video on? They won't even depict white people. Stay tuned. We got more live streams coming. We got a live stream happening this Wednesday. The exact timing will be disclosed very, very soon. We've got so much more to cover. We still have 7-8 months until the election. This is the most consequential year of our republic since the Civil War. I genuinely believe, I think it's more consequential than 2020. This is going to be a rip-roaring year, a chaotic year, and hopefully when all the smoke clears, the right person for the job will be there. And so I just want to humbly thank every single one of you. I'm going to leave a link to this document in the description and the show notes. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you follow. In the pinned comment is our free, it's absolutely free, it's our free newsletter. This is almost your guaranteed fail-safe way of always being in the know, so you never miss out. Breaking news, live updates, top stories that mainstream media won't cover. They will not cover 99% of the things I talk about. They will not cover. I do my due diligence, my conscientious qualitative, quantitative research to find the stories that nobody will talk about, because we need to raise awareness. This is it. This year is, the stakes cannot be higher. I need your help, Nez Nation. I need your help. I love you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of this movement. And as always, may God bless you, your family, your loved ones, and may God bless the United States of America. I'll see you guys really soon. Have a wonderful week. We'll talk soon.